Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Village of Bartlett Board Meeting for December 17, 2024. I call this meeting to order and ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Trustee Daney?
Here.
Gansey?
Here.
Dinstein?
Here.
Hopkins? Here. Laporte?
Here.
Swansky?
Here.
President Wallace?
Here. Our pastor this evening called in sick, so if we could all stand. What I'd like to do is just recognize a moment of silence for the tragedy in Madison. Couldn't imagine going through Christmas time and this happening right before it, or any time of your life, obviously. So a moment of silence, and then we will do the pledge. Thank you all.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Brings us to our town hall portion of the meeting. If anyone would like to address the board, kindly step up to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and try to keep your comments to 3 minutes.
Good evening. I'm Renee Young.
Your address?
About the noise ordinance.
Your address?
Oh, I'm sorry, 652 Cedar Lane. I'm here to ask for modifications to the noise ordinance that was recently passed in July. Me and a couple other neighbors, we weren't going to address this any further, but when I saw the review of the article in the Examiner, it has not helped us at all. In fact, I think it has hindered the police officers in what they can do. There was one particular house that liked to play loud music any day of the week, any time. There was no recourse before the ordinance, and we were told by the police officers, just wait, the ordinance is coming, it's coming. We're like, great. The ordinance came. 2 weeks later, they pulled a permit for an amplifier speaker. Our houses are too close together for this. Now, we know there's gonna be noise. Everyone's gonna have a gathering, they're gonna play music. But when you're in your house across the street with all windows and doors closed, and your walls are rattling because the music is that loud and you feel it in your home, we're not able to enjoy our homes, inside or out. So we were thinking maybe if there was like a noise decibel level that could be modified to it. 150 feet, really, we're still too close together. Nothing's gonna be done for those surrounding 5 homes. The only way I got any relief this past instance was to be outside so my entire house blocked the noise. But for those of us right there, that's all we want, is just to be able to enjoy our homes, inside or out, you know, just keep the noise at a certain level, because the police said they pulled a permit. We can't do anything. So we did call the police after listening to the noise for 6 hours. We had under another 3 hours to 11 p.m. So they said, come to a village hall meeting, so here I am.
Okay. Chief, do you have any suggestions on that?
With the situation, what I can tell you, as the board knows, is we were the proponents of passing this noise ordinance, so we're really comfortable with everything. We understand, just like every ordinance, that we're not going to be able to accommodate every resident. But what I will ask is Deputy Chief Sweeney or Deputy Chief Nadenoff to meet with the resident outside in the hallway so we can take a better look at her concerns.
Perfect. Does that work?
That works.
Thank you for being here. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Oh.
The permitting of the amplifier permit.
Yes.
There is a provision when complaints are issued and permits are given, that is taken into account before another permit is issued.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
there was, I'm sorry.
so they could actually not get another one if there's some the complaints.
Well, this particular house did have an asterisk next to their number, and they were still granted the permit.
Double asterisk, you're out. All right. They'll chat with you a little bit. That'd be great. Thanks for letting us know.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep. Merry Christmas. Would anyone else like to address the board at this time? Does anyone online on the hybrid like to address the board?
No one online.
Thank you. That does it for town hall. Moving on to consent agenda. All items listed with an asterisk will be enacted in one motion. There'll be no separate discussion on items on the consent agenda. That being said, does anybody add or remove anything from the consent? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda, which will be including the board December 3, 2024 minutes, the committee December 3, 2024 minutes. The consent this evening will also include December 17, 2024 bills list. The consent this evening will be including items D 1 and 2 under License and Ordinance Committee, and the consent will also be including items F1 under the consent.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Trustee Daney, second by Trustee Laporte. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Gansey?
Yes.
Gunstein?
Yes.
Hopkins? Laporte?
Yes.
Sawansky?
Yes.
Daney?
Yes.
That motion carries. Moving on to Treasurer's report, Mr. Treasurer.
Thank you. Included in the packets for this meeting is the Treasurer's report for the month of October. Also included is the sales tax report. We received $669,876 in the month of October. That represents July activity, and that was almost double last year this time of the month, so it reflects the new businesses in town. Also, for the motor fuel tax, we received $157,805, which was pretty consistent with the previous months. For the income tax sharing, we're up to $3,843,000 so far this year, and that would be just under $6 million if we were receiving the full 10%. So that's it for the Treasurer's report, unless there's any questions.
Any questions? Thank you, Mr. Treasurer. President's report this evening. The first proclamation we have is for our treasurer. This is a proclamation recognizing Finance Director Todd Dowden upon his retirement from the Village of Bartlett. Whereas Todd Dowden joined the Village of Bartlett as the Assistant Finance Director in May of 2001 and served as an interim Finance Director from November 2016 until May 2017, when he was promoted to Finance Director. And whereas during his tenure as an assistant to two different directors, Todd consistently showed himself to be an astute and attentive financial overseer and a consummate professional, who easily earned the high regard and admiration of his supervisors and his colleagues in other departments. And whereas during his subsequent years as director, he skillfully steered the village finance operations with common sense, grace, and good humor, and followed up by reporting Bartlett's fiscal health in award-winning fashion, continuing to accumulate annual Distinguished Budget Presentation Awards from GFOA, and extending the decades-long count of the annual certificates of achievement for excellence in financial reporting. And whereas Todd leaves us with a history of remarkable performance, a clearer picture of excellence in municipal government, and a well-drawn roadmap for exceptional public service for us to follow. And whereas everyone who has had the good fortune of working with Todd during his tenure with the village will attest to how sorely we will miss him and miss the equal doses of professionalism and enthusiasm he brought to the village hall each day. Now, therefore, I, Kevin Wallace, President of the Village of Bartlett, Cook, DuPage, and Kane Counties, offer our many, many thanks to Finance Director Todd Dowden for his service. We are proud to have had you as an employee in the Village of Bartlett, and we wish you a retirement with a long column of assets, zero liabilities, and filled with many years of good health and much happiness. Dated the 17th day of December, 2024. Congratulations, Todd.
Oh, sure.
Proclamation.
20 words or less, okay?
Thank you. I just want to thank Paul especially for putting her confidence to me when she appointed me as finance director. For the rest of the staff, been great to work with, and for the board, support from the board. So thank you very much.
Thanks for your service.
I'd like to share a little story about Todd.
Uh-oh.
When I,
20 words or less.
20 words or less. When I first was elected, Todd and I worked together. I had golf and also
Does
had
count?
finance. And so we went to lunch, I went over to Pasta Mia. And I told Todd, I said, I want to tell you something about finance. If I have $100 in my pocket and I go out, I'm coming home broke. I said, so you have one responsibility and one responsibility only. Make me look good. And he did. 2.5, 4 years, he made me look good. So congratulations, Todd, and taking care of me, and good luck in retirement.
Thank you. All right. Next on President's Report, we have a proclamation for Jay Doherty. He couldn't be here this evening, but I have requested a very good friend of his, Trustee Gansey, to read the proclamation. So, Trustee Gansey.
Mayor Wallace. A proclamation recognizing Jay Doherty for his service as he steps down from the Bike and Run Plan Advisory Committee. Whereas the Bartlett Bike and Run Plan Advisory Committee serves in an advisory capacity to the village president and board of trustees regarding the continued maintenance, upgrading, and expansion of the village bike path system. And whereas since Jay Doherty was appointed to the committee in March 2023, his insights have been integral in advancing key initiatives to improve the village's bike network. And whereas during his tenure as a committee member, Jay reviewed and provided comments on the village's application for the League of American Bicyclists Bicycle-Friendly Community Program, which greatly helped Bartlett receive an honorable mention, quite an accomplishment for a first-time application. And whereas Jay's input on the recently adopted wayfinding signage plan was crucial in shaping the final outcome. And whereas throughout his public service, he showed himself to be one of Bartlett's dedicated civic volunteers, sharing his time, his insight, and his input toward making our community more bike and pedestrian friendly. Now, therefore, I, Stephanie Gansey, on behalf of the village president and board of trustees, Village of Bartlett, Cook, DuPage, and Kane counties, extend our many thanks to Jay Doherty for his demonstrated commitment and distinguished service on the Bike and Run Plan Advisory Committee. We are proud to have you as a Bartlett resident, and we extend our continued best wishes. And as Trustee Gunstein and I can attest, a very stand-up guy, an excellent friend. Dated the 17th day of December 2024. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Gansey. I know that was a hard one for you. Does anybody have any questions for staff?
I have a couple of people I'd like to recognize. We have two commissioners. Both of them serve on planning and zoning. We have Bob Baccaro. He has 12 years of service. Congratulations, Bob. And Julie help me out. Just say it.
Kapadukakis.
Right, thank you. She has 2 years, so thank you for your service. That's all I have.
That's it?
Yes.
Ray, keeping it short on these Christmas time. All right, anybody else? Moving on to standing committee reports. For standing committee reports, Building and Zoning Committee, Chairman Gunstein.
President Wallace, we have one item today. It's a promenade extension of the approved ordinance 2024-01, an ordinance approving a preliminary final plat of subdivision for a planned unit development, a rezoning, special use permit, and site plan for the promenade of Bartlett mixed-use development. Section 10-9-11 of the Village of Bartlett zoning ordinance requires that construction of a planned unit development commence within 1 year of the approval date. The petitioner is requesting a 1-year extension to allow construction to commence by January 16, 2026. With that, I would just ask Christy Stone if we have an update. Oh, sorry. I make a motion to approve ordinance 2024-118.
118.
an ordinance granting a one-year extension for construction to commence on the promenade of Bartlett mixed-use development.
Second.
Moved by trustee Gunstein, seconded by trustee Daney. Is there any discussion? Give us an update, Christie.
Yeah.
The petitioner is actually here. They wanted to provide an update to the board.
Manshu Modi from Nova Design Build. We are the architects on the project. And, I can give some basic clarification on where we have been, working on this, and it's taking some time. Two components. The car wash package, we reviewed quite a few options, and we wanted to have the latest technology, which is less noisy, as well as much cleaner looking. Now they have conveyor belts rather than tracks. So cars look almost like they are parked in the showroom. So we ended up finally choosing that package, and it took some time to decide on that package. And second package, we wanted an experienced daycare center operator to either lease the building or be part of this venture. And the car wash package is concluded long time ago. The daycare center, we have associated with some operator recently, and then we are going to go with that option, and we have started preparing the working drawings for the daycare. I have a packet here that shows the civil engineering is pretty much concluded. The two buildings out of three, the car wash and retail building is all ready to be permit, permit drawings are concluded. And car wash shop drawings are also completed. The only thing we are working currently to finish it, and we will expedite to finish it, is the daycare center, because we wanted to accommodate the operator's requirement. And I will be happy to circulate this just to.
I think we have access to it, yeah.
Yeah, we have access. We're good. I just had one question. Do you plan on starting construction this summer or spring?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So with that, does anybody have any other questions for the petitioner
I know.
or staff?
Nope.
If not, we will,
All right, thank you. No other discussion. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Gunstein?
yes.
Hopkins?
Yes.
Laporte?
Yes.
Swansky?
Yes.
Daney?
Yes.
Gansey?
Yes.
That motion carries. Thank you for
Walls.
being here.
Well, that's all we have tonight on.
Thank you, Chairman Gunstein. Community and Economic Development Committee, Chairman Gansey.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have nothing to report tonight.
Thank you, Chairman Gansey. Finance Committee, Chairman Laporte.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have one item on the agenda, if I can find it. It's the capital budget adoption. Attached is the resolution to adopt the 2025 to 2029 capital improvements program and authorize the staff to begin engineering and design work on those projects included in the 2025-26 fiscal year. 2025-2026 projects by source of funds is attached. That lists the proposed projects that total $19,255,360. If this resolution is passed, the 2025-2026 projects will be incorporated into the operating budget that will be presented to the village board in February. Discussions will continue on funding sources and capital projects for the following years of capital improvement plan. And I move to approve Resolution 2024-119-R, a resolution adopting the 2025 to 2029 capital improvements program.
I'll second that.
It's moved by trustee Laporte, seconded by trustee Daney. Is there any discussion?
When will we see the different breakdown of the numbers that we asked for from Public Works?
As far as the additional funding sources, we're looking at bringing that back to you the first meeting in February, I believe.
Anything else? Hearing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Hopkins?
Yes.
Laporte?
Yes.
Swansky?
Yes.
Daney?
Yes.
Gansey?
Yes.
Gunstein?
Yes.
That motion carries. Thank you, Chairman Laporte. License and Ordinance Committee Chairman Hopkins.
Thank you, President Wallace. D1 and D2 were covered under the consent tonight.
Thank you, Chairman Hopkins. Police and Health Committee Chairman Swansky.
Thank you, Mr. President. Our ordinance is amending the Bartlett Municipal Code regarding permit parking. The Police Department and the Planning and Development Services Department have been working on a solution to the parking concerns raised by many of the residents who reside in the Bartlett Green Townhomes located on Oneida Avenue, Chase Avenue, and Hale Avenue at the recent board meeting on Tuesday, November 19th, 2024. On a regular basis, approximately 50 to 70 vehicles will be parked on Oneida, Chase, and Hale between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. when overnight parking is prohibited per ordinance. Residents are allowed 3 overnight parking permits per month per vehicle. However, the overnight parking issue continues to persist in this area because of the lack of available parking. The suggested amendments to sections 611-13048, commuter parking, 611-13048-1, village parking lot permits, 611-13048.2, overnight parking, 1303.5, scheduled 9, commuter permit parking, and 13042, overnight parking, would provide the opportunity for residents within the residential parking permit zone to apply for parking permits that it would allow them to park their vehicles in the designated permit parking areas during overnight hours, 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. I move to approve ordinance 2024-120, an ordinance amending the Bartlett Municipal Code regarding permit parking.
I'll second that.
Moved by Trustee Swansky, seconded by Trustee Daney. Is there any discussion?
When will the first permits be issued, or how that would we communicate to everyone there so that everyone feels like they have a chance?
So we plan on implementing and issuing the first permits starting on Thursday, with the resuming of the enforcement to take place after the new year. So what we're going to do today is, after this meeting, we have a draft letter that we're going to provide some of the residents who are here from the Quad area. We're also going to work with the different Bartlett Greens 1 through 6. We're also going to be putting out a code red message, informing all the residents who live in that specific area to go to a specific portion of the village webpage for more information. And then also, too, for the vehicles that are currently parked out there, we are going to be putting out this letter that we put together, just explaining what the process is.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
We're not going to take into account tickets that have already been issued for the initial permitting. Is that correct?
That is correct. That was one of the concerns that the residents brought up after the committee of the whole meeting, when myself, Deputy Chief Sweeney, and Nadenoff met with them. And from speaking to the village administrator and, more importantly, the village attorney, we still want those residents to pay their fines for those tickets, but we are not going to take that into account. And we are going to monitor that, and if we need to amend the ordinance, if they refuse to pay, that's something that we could amend the ordinance from speaking to the village attorney at a later date.
Will future parking tickets, after the permits have been issued, will any future parking tickets be considered during the renewal process in a year?
Currently, no. Currently, we're going to handle all payments through our iDrop system, which is set up as our collections process to collect overdue fines. Like the chief said, if we see an issue with permittees not following parking regulations and not moving their cars during 2 inches of snow, that's when we would reapproach the board and maybe amend the ordinance and the procedures that we'd be using in determining if we'd be renewing permits. But currently, we're just going to handle that to the same way we do with all other citations right now. We would do it through a collections process and in turn overall outstanding fines to iDrop.
Do you anticipate that being a problem, since now they'll have permits to park during those times?
Well, we don't expect them to get additional, we
Tickets,
expect
right?
to see a lot less overnight parking tickets now, so.
I would like to thank the Village Police Department and the staff and the residents for all of your input. It's really important that you're part of the process, and we appreciate your assistance, and the police and the staff also. Thank you.
I just have one question for Reps. So I expressed some concern about Oneida having parking on it in the last meeting. I just want to make sure that we have the opportunity to review this in a year or two when the train station is realigned, because I know traffic on Oneida is going to increase. So I think we need to keep an eye on this and monitor it.
Really good point, yep.
So mainly, my other concern with that was just the intersection of Prospect and Oneida. I think we should give them a little extra room there to park, maybe eliminate one more of those parking stalls there, just to be safe.
Per the state law, we're going to give them at least 30 feet. So 30 feet from the stop sign. So even if the diagram may show it being closer, it is going to be 30 feet from the intersection. And there's going to be signs posted on Oneida and on South Hale and South Chase showing the exact area, beginning and ending of the parking permit zones.
All right, thank you. As we did with the sound ordinance, maybe we could schedule something end of first quarter, or beginning of second quarter, just to kind of review how things are going. I think we did that with the sound ordinance. We passed that sometime in July, and then we reviewed it again. I don't remember.
We did. We just reviewed it a few meetings ago.
Yeah, so maybe we could do that.
And we'd be more than happy to present the board with that information.
Yeah, and then somehow, if you have a way to communicate with the residents, maybe they could attend that meeting as well.
Is there any other discussion?
No, I appreciate the collaboration, though, between the village and the residents. I mean, we're here to represent you. You need to let us know what's going on, so keep us up to speed. Thank you.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Laporte?
Yes.
Swansky?
Yes.
Daney?
Yes.
Gansey? Yes. Gunstein? Hopkins?
That motion carries. Thank you, Chairman Swansky. Public Works and Golf Committee, Chairman Daney.
Thank you, Mr. President. The only thing we had on the agenda was covered under consent.
Thank you, Chairman Daney. Anybody have any new business for the good of the order? Anybody have any additional questions, other than I wish everyone a very, very Merry Christmas? Staff, have a great Christmas. People, have a great Christmas.
I have a question. Hey, Scott, have you heard anything? JC's has been closed. Are they simply on vacation, or is there?
Yeah, that'd be a good update.
So they did go out of town. They are applying for a remodeling permit and are going to be making some improvements to the inside.
That's what I heard. Yep.
Okay, excellent, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Trustee Swansky, seconded by Trustee Daney. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Daney?
Yes.
Gansey?
Wait a second.
Gunstein?
Yes.
Hopkins? Laporte?
Yes.
Swansky?
Yes.
We are adjourned.